So a few years back, well, many years back, my dad bought a whole lot of doors at an auction, and he's had them sitting at the house for, ever since then. And one of those doors was a glass panel door. It's a set of double doors. So I'm installing this in Natalie's room, and I had to install that board up top there because it wasn't anything. It was an open gap. And afterward, I had to cut pockets for the hinges, and then I trimmed the door down. I had to cut probably a good 6 inches off the height of the door, and about a half an inch off the width of each one. And I had to recut the pockets for the hinges. And this side I did over here, this door I did all this with a chisel and a hammer. And it doesn't look too bad, but it's not as clean as I would like it to look. On this side, however, I cut that one with a router, and it looks a whole lot nicer. You can see the router down there. That's the first time I pulled that thing out in a long time. But basically what I did was took the hinge and I laid the hinge up here, marked all the holes, laid the hinge up here, and then I took a razor knife and I traced around the hinge. And then once I had the razor knife in, or the marks from the razor knife, I took the hinge away and I went back over it and I cut them real deep. And when I did the other side with the chisel, I would chisel out all around the edge there, and then I cleaned out what was left in the middle. With the router, obviously you can get pretty close. I'm not cutting it right up along the edge, but I'm leaving just like a 32nd of an inch, and then I'm cleaning that up with a chisel, just because you can be more precise with it. And with that razor kerf, cut into the wood already, it's still going to be a clean line. And I got the two here on the bottom to do yet. And when I'm done that, once I get the hinges on the jamb installed, I have this board here, and it's exactly 5/8 of an inch thick here. This is off of the old door jamb, which was totally messed up. But I lay this down on the ground and I set the door on top of it, and it spaces it 5/8 of an inch off the floor, so that when the doors open up, it'll clear this carpet here. And I set that board right along here, well, actually around this way, and I set the door up in there, and I fold the hinge over, and I put a razor knife or a razor mark on the door itself after the with this hinge in. I mark the door, and then I take the door downstairs outside, and I do the same process. I trace out the hinge with the razor knife, and then use the router to clean the pocket out, dress it up with a chisel, and then come back up and hang it. This has been a project that's been going on for quite a while, and Mama's been asking me to get it done, so I spent this weekend, a couple hours last night, and all day today working on this. And man, I tell you, once I pulled that router out, what a difference that makes. Now I'm still going to have to, once I get these two doors up here, I'm still going to have to probably take them back off and cut it, because I didn't take enough off when I trimmed these doors down. And that's going to have to, I'm probably going to have to take another, I don't know, maybe even a 1/4 inch, so that the doors can shut together. But once both doors are hung, I got these little boards over here that I cut with a table saw, and those will install right along in here, so that the door has a stop. It'll install along the top too, so the doors don't flop around when you shut them. And where they at? I got these handles here. Bought these from Lowe's, and then I have these clips that'll install on that stop along the top board. And I like these a lot better than I do the magnets, because it seems like the magnets just wear out, and
you know, it looks kind of cheesy. These are made for cabinets. I got these from Lowe's. They're pretty cheap, just a couple cents. But
yeah, once the doors are installed, once all that the stops and you know I clean it up with wood filler, sand it and paint it, then I'll focus on the inside of the closet here. I stripped this thing down completely, down to studs, and you know, put a lot of backing board in here, so when I install a shelf, I got something I can screw to. It'll look really good. This thing used to have a piece of plywood in the middle of the closet, and then there was a light on one side with a pull chain that actually came through a cutout in the top of the plywood, and you pulled it from the other side, and it had sliding doors on it, and I can't stand sliding doors. They're junk. They always wear out. I installed these recessed lights up top too, which is really nice. It's actually the only installed lighting in this whole bedroom. The floor underneath that drop cloth, that's got to get sanded, stained, and polyurethaned. I'm using a Minwax. What do you call it? It's not a high gloss. The word escapes me, but yeah, got to do that, and then we'll be good to go. I'm going to use a piece of walnut that I have as a shelf, and I'm gonna build her a shelf, kind of like a shelf unit at the bottom that baskets will slide in and out of. She can put her shoes and toys and whatnot. But just want to give you guys an update, show you what I'm doing. It's been a while since I posted anything. I've had some issues with editing. You know, I'm getting used to it. It's definitely a learning curve for me, but when it's all done, I'll post a video of that too. Appreciate you watching.